This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, miniatures, and paints, discount prices at miniaturemarket.com. Hello everyone, I think you can hear me okay. We'll know soon enough, that's for sure. Alright, let me move this over here, move this over here, and hopefully the lag won't be too bad. And everything will be right in the world. Alright, let's put that there. Move that there. Wow, I think I got it right. Hold on, let me move down this a little bit. So, it's been a very interesting week for me. One that you don't expect, especially being an old fellow like myself and having worked in the same place for forever. I got a call on Monday and said, "Hey, Rob, guess what?" And let me just start by this, okay? I have worked for the military as a contractor for a long time. And every year around June 16th, we have had to sweat it out. And, before somebody starts with, oh, well, it's because of who's in office. No, it had nothing to do with that. There have been cutbacks for the last 10, 15 years. And we've been reshaping things. But after all this time, unfortunately, I'm the one that got it this time, along with a bunch of other people that have been there a very, very long time. And the sad thing about it is, especially being a contractor, there's no retirement, there's no big package that you get, there's no pat on the back. It makes things very, very, very difficult. Let me just move some of this. And first of all, it's always just quite a shock. It hurts. It hurts. I mean, these last couple of years I've been working from home, and I've been pretty lucky to do it in my old age. And you start scratching your head. Where do you go from here? What do you do? How do you do it? How do you we would have been fine at the other house, but 4 years ago we decided to come to the farm. The other house was all paid off, and I kept telling him, I go, this is a bad idea. You never know how things can go. Fortunately everybody's keeping their heads up high and everything. But when the big guy takes it on the chin, what do you do now? What do I go do? But no, all week I've been throwing out, I must have put out 100 resumes. Nobody wants a guy in his 60s. Nobody wants to take a chance with that. The liability, and when you think of a guy in, his mid 60s, you're thinking some guy, is just gonna, maybe while he's working, drop dead on you. You know what I mean? And then you got a lawsuit and all that other fun stuff. And it's really difficult, because I always said, well, if I can make it 6 more years, till I'm 70 and whatnot, I can go on Social Security and do the channel. Maybe the channel will make a little bit of money. Definitely can't do that nowadays. And this channel doesn't make very much. We had a problem even getting the computer that we had, but thank God, we were able to get that and keep going. Do I bring back auctions and just auction a majority of this stuff off, to survive until I can figure something out? That's a possibility, and then you've got to let go of things that you really care about, and that hurts too. Do you start a Patreon, a GoFundMe, and and beg for money. That's not my way. I mean, don't get me wrong. You guys want to donate, it'll definitely help. But it, it's that realization that tomorrow, after all this time, and all the people I've met, and the good people, and things like that, and people that have been friends for forever that you talk to every day, you know, it all goes away. And then, what do you do? How do you how do you recover from that? How do you mentally pick yourself up and keep going forward? You have to. You got grandkids in there. You got children. I got children down the hill. I got a mother-in-law in the back. I've got to figure something out. And and believe me, I've even thought, well, gee, if I take my retirement early and get a part-time job, get a job that just carries benefits until I'm 65 and go on Medicare. Couldn't even get a job at Costco. Couldn't even get a job as a door guard, someplace. You know, then it comes at the worst time when you're trying to learn how to walk again after the surgery I had. You know, it seems that and I think I speak for a lot of us out there, a lot of you out there, that you never seem to catch a break. Let me know when you're free. I got a question. Okay. This is my pal. Do as soon as I'm done streaming, I will call you. It's absolutely devastating. And then, you think about trying to get into this industry. This industry isn't setting the world on fire either. Who do you go talk to? And you're telling them, I got poor Steve. Steve, give me a second. You wonder where you go from here. And I think when you become my age, and even though I'm in really good shape, for my age, my wits are still about me. What do you do? How do you do it? How do you start all over? I've had a job in the military for forever, and now it's gone. And then to come out into the world here, we, like a lot of us, a lot of you guys, we've done a lot for our children, my wife and I. We stretched ourselves thin. We just said, well, if we keep working, we got to help this one, we got to help that one, and you help everybody, and you leave nothing for yourself. And then you get caught with this, and then you're kind of like, oh boy, this is going to be tough. What do I do from here? Where do I go from here? And it's a scary, scary, scary thing. And you wonder, like a lot of you, I've always tried to be a good person, be good to people, be good. Hey, I've raised 300 and some odd thousand for charities and stuff like that. Boy, I wish I had that on me right now. But would I take it back? No, the guilt would be too much. And a lot of us, we go through life, and it's just you never look downhill. You're always looking up at the mountain. And you hope to get one day and stand on the top of that mountain, and just say, okay, This is the part where it's easy to slide downhill, and for some it is. But I've always believed this one thing. There's good and evil in this world. Okay, there are people that will always be good, and there will be people that no matter what are evil, and that you'll always have to have the two. And then there are people that will always have it easy, and then some that are just born to suffer and have it hard their entire life, and then question things. How many times have you questioned it? Geez, what am I here for? Why am I here? You know, you know, uh, you have these moments, but why does everything have to be so hard in life? Can it just be easy just once? Why is that guy that next to me always get to scratch that one ticket and get the jackpot, and me, I end up with three cherries and a prune? It's just you wonder, and you just accept it after a while that the universe is very balanced, and for everything good that happens to some people, sometimes nothing but hardship and having to fight through life is for others. Because if we all had it good, then there would be no such thing as hardship, would there? If everybody was good, there would be no bad people, because it doesn't make sense. There has to be balance. And you try to accept the universe for what it is and what it does to you and how it does things to you. And you have to wake up and you have to keep fighting. You have to believe that no matter what is dealt to you, that you will overcome it and that you will do your best to survive it. And I think that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm trying to figure out how to survive things, how to do things, how to keep the channel going. And I'm always going to keep the channel going. It brings a little income. Little income's better than none. I've got a tremendous sponsor in Trading Card Market who sent me so much. And have you seen recently, as a matter of fact, today a video went up with me and my granddaughter, who's interested in being on the camera all the time. Matter of fact, next week they started selling Legos at Trading Card Market, and my granddaughter, who is 7, is a Lego savant. Okay, she puts things together. I've never seen a kid. I look at those instructions and I want to kill myself. This isn't when I was a kid and I had Legos and you had the little block guy, and oh look, a house. Oh look, balloon animal, whatever your imagination. Now these detailed and certain pieces go here and there. Well, she's going to show you how to do it, and then my grandson is going to show you how to do, at 5, the Duplos. And you can pick these all up at incredibly cheap prices over at Trading Card Market, along with Hot Wheels. So they have Legos now, along with sports card, trading cards, and everything else that they do. And they are becoming a monster. Why? That's who Steve is. Steve is the best, one of the most brilliant people that I have ever met in my life, and a dear and wonderful friend of mine, someone that I love dearly. I mean that with all my heart. I will throw myself in traffic for that guy. Okay, always. I told him, I go, when I die, I'm having my wife take my ashes and give a little to him, and if anybody gives him a hand, throw him in their face. Just pull it out of his pocket, and just like the old wrestling move. You have it in a white handkerchief and throw it in their face. You know what I mean? They can't see, and then drop kick them and run. And that'd be my last thing I'd do for him. Okay, one last time for him. And I just that's my brother. Love my brother. The only family I have. I have no other family except for my brother. Steve is one brother, and then I have a real brother. Dreaming. Now, we'll catch the second half. He's asking if I'm watching anyone. Second half. And we hadn't talked in a long time, you know, because my brother is actually 19 years younger than me. Yeah, he was a surprise, I guess. You know, the best thing about him, and I love him to death. Yeah, I've got, you know, I had a couple other brothers I don't talk to because they're just, well, one, he's just had a hard life. The other is just the most evil person I've ever seen on the earth. And we had a tough upbringing, and I guess that's why he is the way he is. But this guy, you know, when I was, you know, I'm 21, 22. You know, you think I'm out running around drinking and being an idiot and all this other things. No, I was taking him with me everywhere I could go and doing things with him. You know, as a little guy, you know, when he was 4 and 5, we'd, you know, instead of running around hanging with my friends, I was hanging with a little brother. And he was such a good and well. He was just, he meant the world to me, you know. He was such a cute kid. And it was funny. I'll tell this story because it's you know, of all days, it's a good day to laugh, right? So I would go to high school games. You know, I'd take him with me, get him in the car seat, and you know, here I am, 20-something years old, and you know, high school football was very big, and it was always on Saturdays up north, and I would take him with me, and he was like a girl magnet, and I went, oh wow, this really works. So I'd take this kid to the mall. I'd take this kid just about anywhere I could go. And they go, is this your son? I go, no, it's my little brother. And ooh, boy, that was a way to start a conversation. Next thing you know, I'd get a chance to you know, get some phone numbers and stuff. And he was a cute kid. Boy, I'd make sure that he looked his best because I didn't have to look my best. He did all the work. But you know, we had fun. We always had fun. And the only thing he would eat was chicken nuggets. Couldn't get him to eat anything else. So I would have to take him to McDonald's and get him a chicken nugget Happy Meal, just to make sure that he ate. He probably still only eats chicken McNuggets, but I love him dearly. We talk at least a couple times a week, or you know, every other week. You know, he's got a family now and things like that, and I'm getting older, and you know, I don't want him to be alone or anything like that. So I always make sure that my family, you know, keeps him close here. That hit me the wrong way, but and he's a Carolina Hurricane fan, so you know, this last week was great. We're both New York Knicks fans and Carolina fans, and in the same weekend, 2 rings. I mean, that's an amazing thing. So, you know, pretty cool thing. But getting back to the subject at hand, you have to keep the faith. You know, I don't know what do I do from here. I'm going to try to figure something out. I'm going to, you know, maybe stream more, maybe, you know, try to get some income through here, more auctions and things like that. You know, thankfully, you know, Steve has been a big supporter because, I can't afford to buy games now and stuff like that. But, we'll have trading card games and the wonderful designers out there and companies out there that help send stuff for me to review. I'm always going to take good care of. I'm not going to lie to you. If they make something not good, unfortunately, I got to tell you the truth. Or maybe if it's real bad, I just won't make the video of it and tell them, listen, I didn't care for this. I'm sorry. Maybe you don't want to work with me anymore. That's okay too. I don't want to hurt you. But if there's some good things out there, I'm going to make sure that we talk about it. And you guys support them, because it's tough for them. It's tough for you, And I always said the one good thing that this channel could ever do is I can always point you in the right direction, and you make the final decision yourself. I can show things off, talk about it, what it means to me. Don't take it to heart, but take a good look at it and see if it's, with money as tight as it is for everyone. I said this always make sure that you take care of yourselves and you buy the right things to put on the table that are going to make you happy, okay? And that you're going to get a lot of playing out of it. And if I could do that on this channel, then I've done a great job. I've done the best job I could. It's not about shock value. It's not about who's hurting who, or who's in a lawsuit against this one, or this one said this and now he's been canceled, and this company is oh, let's talk about how rotten this company is, and this, that, and the other. Even though I do have to say sometimes, hold on. Sorry to hear the bad news. My corp also gets a good deal of government contracts. The administration cutting funds on all sorts of research, so our revenue from that has been hit. You can't believe. You see, I'm not going to buy into that administration thing. For me, at least, I understand that. But every administration has cut something. There were a number of administrations that hurt my wife's business, and she's an occupational therapist that helps people, and the things that people have done to Medicare, where people can't get proper care. Okay, it's not this administration. It's government in general. Okay, they never think of you. They never think of me. They make things to try to help certain people, whether it's the rich, whether it's the extreme poor, it doesn't matter, but somebody's going to get hurt along the way. And like I said, it's really, it's hard. And of course, you want to point a finger someplace, and it's the easiest thing to do is to point it, to the highest authority there. But I don't believe that. Sometimes things just have to be done. Was spending insane? Yeah, sure it was. And if you cut it, somebody's going to get hurt. And you have to look at it that way. And you can't blame one guy. You got to blame, you got to blame some of these congressmen that go in making $120,000 a year and come out with, $50-60 million. How's that happening? Can you stop it? No, you can't stop a juggernaut, okay? You can't stop certain things. And I'm not being political. I'm just saying the truth. All sides. There's just, I said there's got to be good and evil. There's good people that are in government, and there are bad people in government. Unfortunately, it's us that pays the brunt of it. And this is just what it is. It's tough. So, what do you do? How do you do it? How do you figure it out? How do you overcome it? You have to stay positive. I'm scared. Yeah, sure, I'm scared. I'm very scared. This is the most scared I've ever been, because it's the first time in my life And then I'm standing here. And the first time, think about this. I started this channel 12 years ago, 13 years ago. I always had a job. I've only had 3 jobs in my entire life. And now I'm faced with something that it's such unfamiliar territory. I don't know what to do next. I have a resume here. Okay? My work history. It's my entire work history. There's 3 things on it. That's it. Who do you hand this to? I've been handing them out like crazy. I've been giving them away. I'm surprised I'm not on the street corner with one of those signs spinning, and then handing somebody a resume on the way by. Can I do hard labor? Not with this ankle right now, but I'd go break bricks to make sure my family's happy. You would too. Each one of you would. What do you do? How do you do it? How do you figure it out? How do you keep going? I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out. And I'm coming on here and I'm talking about it because it always feels good to talk to you guys, because you're me. You're one of me. I'm not talking down to you. I'm talking to you. And maybe you're feeling the same way I'm feeling. Some of you are out of work right now. Some of you are having a hard time. Well, we're all in this together. And where we have to look out for ourselves, I understand, but we can sympathize with each other, and we could talk it out, and that's what I try to do sometimes. Just talk it out, and just, number one, it's going to make me feel better instead of keeping it all in, because, boy, I've got a saint for a wife. That woman is something special. And how do you put this all on her or make her nervous? You know how it is. You hate to see your wife hurt. You don't want to see your wife hurt. Ever. None of you do that are married. So you try to keep as much in and smile. My one daughter, she has to work on Sunday, and we were supposed to have a little bit of a barbecue, and she's going to be here for Father's Day. And I said, don't worry about Father's Day. Father's Day just don't mean anything today. Okay? I go, take care of yourself, do your job, stay vigilant, work hard, keep going. And that's the thing, I think, another thing that really kind of hurts you a little bit is, when I had this operation, I have almost like 150 hours of PTO that they're not going to pay out. And it's not the company's fault. It's their policy. I think they give you a little bit of it. But I was thinking back when I had the surgery for this foot, I didn't take PTO. I took a half day, had the surgery, made sure it was on a Friday. I had the weekend, and I was back to work on that Monday. I should have took a couple days because I was in so much pain, it was ridiculous. And then recently I had some bone spurs removed, and I took my first PTO day. Do you want to know something? They saw me working. As soon as it was done and I got home, I was worried because it was end of year, and I'm working. I worked about 5-6 hours. But I already claimed the PTO day. I go, that's okay. That's all right. Never called in sick. Never just got up one morning in 33 years. I never got up one morning and said, I don't feel good. I'm not going to come in today. Never did that. Anytime I ever took off, and I haven't been on a vacation. Last vacation I took, I went to Gen Con to do work for this channel. And my wife and I have not been on a vacation in over 10 years. Because I always believed, you gotta work. You gotta work. If you're not working, they're gonna look at you, they're gonna let you go. Sometimes they just let you go anyways. And then you have a lot of people go, I told you so, you should have took your time off. They don't care. How's it their fault? How's it your fault? It's not your fault. It's not their fault. It's just the way things are, and it's understand. Perhaps it's different in the States versus the UK, but here you struggle to get a new mortgage going into your 60s with no job security or redundancy protection. Hope the repayments are manageable. What? We get a new. Well, no, I didn't get a new mortgage. I mean, we moved out here 5 years ago. I already paid off a mortgage. Okay, and we put down a good part on this farm. Now, there's more people that live on this farm, but I needed to at least work until I'm 70 to make things manageable. I'm listen. I see what you're saying. Hope the repayments are manageable. Well, let me tell you something. If you think I'm going to lay down and die, no. No, I'll find a way. Okay? And that's what we do here in the States. A lot of us stand up and fight. We dig our feet into the ground and we go forward. We don't sit here and cry. We don't boo hoo. I'm not boo hooing to you. What I'm talking about is, dear God, what is the retirement age in the United States? Could you opt for early retirement and get part-time work along with doing the YouTube channel? I'm looking into that. I didn't want to, but if I have to, I will. Our retirement age is 65 now. They're saying 67. But I can start collecting Social Security early. Matter of fact, I have my little form here that I happened to get in the mail about a month ago, and I kept it on what I would get per month. And it's not much, but we have my son living here. My daughter lives down the hill. My mother-in-law's in the back. But you want to know something? As a man, you want to take care of your family. You don't want to rely on anybody else. Are we going to make it? Sure, we're going to find a way. 65, same as here? Yep. Yep. For now. For now, exactly, my friend. For now. But we're looking at different things. We're trying to figure things. But, got a lot of fight in my heart. Do you have a 401k? No, I do not. No, I do not. You can get that at 59 and a half. Yeah, if you have a 401k. I always, unfortunately, with the business I was in and being a contractor for as long as I was, you had to live hand to mouth. And you were just trying to take care of everybody else, like I said. And there were certain things. My wife had a 401k, and then during one of the market crashes, it all disappeared. It all disappeared. And you don't seem to want to blame this administration, but if I was in your shoes and I see them throwing billions away in a pointless way, you see, this is where this gets stupid. Nothing that gained us nothing, a golden ball. You're just a hater, and that's it, and a pool. I'd be hella mad. No, that's all propaganda. What you're saying, I don't believe a lot of that. That ballroom is privately funded. People want to blame stuff and blame this and that and everything like that. Why don't you go look at California and all this other stuff? Listen, I'm an independent. I don't care either way. Okay? And what they spend doesn't make a difference in my life. Okay? All right? It doesn't. This is something that just has been happening for the last 15 years in this area, and it's not on this one administration. Okay? It's on government, plain and simple. It's just the way it is. Everybody wants to point a blame because they don't like a certain guy, or the left wants to blame this side, and the right wants to blame these people, and you know, and I sit in the middle because I think both sides have valid points, and I'm just looking and I'm going, you guys are so busy fighting with each other that you really aren't worried about each person that's out there. Doesn't matter what side you believe in. And what good is it going to do me to be mad at an administration? Do you think they're going to hear me? No, they stopped. Administrations and government stopped listening a long, long, long time ago. Okay? A long time ago. Far, far earlier than this one. So, is this a political thing? No. No. This is one man that just, after 33 years, is like, all right, what do I do now? Because it happens to all of us. At some point in our lives, we are faced with a challenge where we have to go, what do we do now? Where do we go now? And if people are going to leave political messages in the comments, I'm just going to delete them because I don't want to hear them. I don't want to read them. Okay? I'm just talking about me, and I'm talking about every person out there that has gone through a hard time, no matter what industry you're in. Okay? Because companies turn and go, you know something? You're old. Here's a cake, here's a watch, and here's a boot in your ass. Thanks for all the time. You've been replaced by a computer. That has nothing to do politically. That is just the way it's been for forever. Forever. The old get old. And the young try to take everything from the old. That old lion that's sitting there. Those hyenas eventually, surround you. And that's just life. That's just life. Thanks, Brian. I appreciate hearing that. This is something most of us will face soon with AI and robots taking over many jobs. And yeah, that's technology. It's happened for 50 years. The smarter we got and things that we make that are amazing, the more that they are going to take over and take away things that people used to do. Now you're talking. Sometimes in winter. I like that name though. Not sure what you did, but could you start an LLC and do it on your own, consulting or contracting out to businesses? Sorry, should say did not do not did. Oh yeah, I got you. I got what you said though. No, it's not something that you can contract out or start an LLC. And at this age, the stress of starting an LLC and praying, every dollar that comes in, I think, at some point, I am a data scientist and I use AI every day. But honestly, seeing it replacing me at some point. Funny story, and this is the God's honest truth. All right, I am. There's a lot of people that are dead set against AI, okay? But AI is an amazing thing in a lot of ways. It does so much good, and then it could do so much bad. It's like anything else. This channel, okay? I hired somebody to do art. It was some of the worst art I've ever had. I paid money out of my pocket, and I kept on saying, could you redo it? And then the person disappeared, and I was stuck with what I got. What I got was what I got. And I didn't like it. And my son goes to me one day and he goes, you need to redesign the site. People aren't coming to it. And, your covers are awful. I don't know how to do any of this stuff. He goes, let me show you. Pulls up Chat GPT. Blah, 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 blah. Redesign the site. It's beautiful. I love it. There's some tweaks I want to make at some point. I will. It showed me how to do covers. Boom, boom, boom. Those covers have been beautiful. Do you realize that this channel has boomed? We were stuck around 25, 26, 27,000, somewhere in there, and we have almost doubled in the last 6 months. 60,000. We're at 60,000 people that follow us, that follow this channel. Because I've changed what I did. I've become more passionate about what I want to do. I feel more confident with, making the covers and stuff like that with the help of AI. And it's done great. Then, the other thing I want to tell you, my wife, right? She is an occupational therapist, and she has these flyers that they hand out, and it's how to do range of motion things, okay? And she's sitting there trying to redesign it and this, that, and the other. And she had this little template, and she goes, I can't do this. And she's getting frustrated. She was at it for 45 minutes, and I turned to her, I go, stop right there. Do you have a PDF? She goes, yes. Come with me. Knock on my son's door. Hey, can you come out in a minute? Out for a second? Yep. Brought him to the computer. I go, can you take this and do what she wants? It took them 6 minutes, and they made these beautiful layouts to hand to people, that she hands to people for range of motion. We printed them out right here, printed her out like 50 of them. And I went, holy cow, you were there for an hour, and this took 6 minutes. And it does so many wonderful things. Another quick story. Someone dropped us. I wrote somebody, I said, I would really love to review your game. I don't want any money. I don't charge people to review because I think that's gross. I could just send me your game and I'll check it out. He looked at my site and he goes, you use AI covers. I would never associate myself with such a channel. And while I understood what he was saying, it was also kind of silly, because AI doesn't run my channels or makes my videos, okay, the way other channels do, okay? I use it to create a cover. That's it. Not with, a beautiful woman in front of it, like this weirdo channel that is doing all kinds of drama videos. But I use it to really, make it look good for the people that have the faith to send me a game and go, hey, can you make a video about this and hopefully get some extra sales for me? Yeah, I want you to do well. I want you to do great. And I'm going to do everything I can to make it look pretty. And I do. This is something most of us will face. Okay. Not sure. Okay. I answered that. Oh, heard the news from your son. Stay strong, my friend. You are strong and you can find a way forward. Yeah, thanks, Jerry. I appreciate it. Truth. Same exact happened to someone I know during Obama administration. It's not a political issue. This happens and it sucks. Yeah, it wasn't Obama's fault. These things happen. AI can be for good, yet I see it being more Orwellian than I like. And I agree with you there. It's an amazing thing, but it also is a scary thing. What's next, Soylent Green? I don't know. Yes, we have something in the UK called Triple Lock, which protects people, retirement funds, and pensions. The younger generations are complaining that it's bad for them, costing the economy too much. Yeah, there's some stropes out there. Sure are. Yeah, I don't blame Obama. What did he do wrong? I don't blame Bush. I don't blame Trump. I don't blame Biden. I don't blame the other guy there. The guy with all the girlfriends. See, I just can't think right now. But Clinton. There we go. They have to make a decision that they think they're doing something right. And no matter what decision you make, somebody's going to get hurt. I don't care what decision you make. And, unfortunately, some of us get hurt. And some of us have to figure a way out. And some of us have to figure out, oh my God, all these years of working high end, I may be bagging groceries at Publix. You do what you have to do to survive. Do I want to? No. Do I need benefits until 65? Yes. That's the main thing. Well, end of this month, I don't have any benefits. And I'm on one foot right now. It's an awful, awful thing. It's a bad time for this to happen. But you know something? You have to have faith. And, you know, sometimes you look to the heavens. Some of you don't believe in that. Sometimes you just got to do the best you can to be the best you are. And sometimes times like this bring out the best in you. And I'm hoping that's what happens. I'm not going to be bitter. I'm not going to be angry. Am I going to be scared? Am I going to be frightened? Yes, inside. But am I going to rise up? Am I going to try to do the best I can? I sure as hell will. I sure as hell will. I can promise you that. Happened to me too, Rob, after 42 years in the shipbuilding industry here in Australia. Had to retire at 62. Good luck, Rob. Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's the way economy goes. Like a big manufacturing jobs are less common here in the UK with the robotics and the changing processes. Everything changes in life. Nothing stays the same. The neighborhood never stays the same. It's never the way you remember it when you walk through it later in life. Everything changes. Everything changes. How we do it, how we get through it, it's really the best you can. Board Game Steph. Hey! How are you, sunshine? Hey, Rob, miss you. You're the best. You are too. And I hope you're doing well. I miss you a lot. A real lot. And I bet you're going to Origins, right? You and the hubby there? But I miss talking to you. I miss laughing with you. Me and Miss Steph used to get in trouble. They used to flew us down for like this. It was the funniest thing. They flew us down for this conference, okay? And Lincoln from Board Game Geek, that's another guy there. But they wanted to have this like thing. It was Rodney, Chaz, myself, Steph, and everybody from Board Game Geek. Candace had just started with them. It was like her first week, and she was there, and that was cool because I got to hang out and have dinner with her. And they're having these talks, and I was making her laugh, and she was making me laugh, and everybody's looking at us because we're hysterical, and tears are coming down our eyes. No Origins, oh God. And you know, they're having this little conference to how to make Board Game Geek better, and we're cracking jokes the whole time, and it was just nothing but jokes, and we just couldn't stop laughing. And yeah, that was the last time I think they asked me to go to one of those. But there you go. I thought you would be watching the England game. I watched the first half. Mind you, the U.S. match was exciting. I really enjoyed it. And I've got it on. I'm going to watch it later. I would be watching it because I pull for England. My brother asked the same thing, but hopefully England's doing well, not getting killed. But you never know with that team. You never know. It was bonkers, but so much fun. Yeah, it really was fun. It was fun. And then oh God, there were so many things that Board Game Geek that I still laugh about to this day. But I love Aldi. I think he's one of the best guys. But at Lincoln, he's a little different. Always yelling at that poor wife of his. Well, there was one time I was at Board Game Geek convention, and we were all lining up to take a picture in our Board Game Geek football shirts, which I never understood that, but I thought polos would have been cooler. And we're all lined up and everything like that. And then Lincoln throws this fit. I'm on the end. I just won't be in the picture. And he starts yelling and screaming, and everybody had to move so he can get right in the middle. It was, and Rodney and I turned to each other and just looked at each other and go, what are we doing? Why are we here? I'll never forget that. And it was just, and then somewhere in the convention one time he was just screaming at that poor girl. She's such a sweet girl, and he's screaming at her. No change even still. Yeah, I know. It's just like, oh my God, this guy. He's a decent guy, but Jesus. Just wanted it his way, and that was it. And that's why things are the way they are, I guess. A funny story for sure. All right. I think I've said all I could. It's almost 5:30. I think I'm going to go eat, get my head straight. I will be back on Sunday where we'll talk more about this. But I got to call a few people. I love you all. I do. Steph, miss you to death. Miss you to death. And so happy to hear from you. It means the world to me. Love you. And it's tough getting old, folks. But you know something? You got to keep fighting. Because you got to go out with your boots on. Always go out with your boots on. I watch the game at night occasionally, sometimes, and play a game I'm interested in, and always check if Rodney has a how it played. All right. Love you all. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. And we'll be back soon. We've got tons of videos, and the channel keeps growing, and I'm very thankful for all of you for doing that. You guys are the best. And yes, I love you, and I will catch up with you soon, Steph. Definitely give me a call, text me, or something sometime soon, and let's catch up. God knows I'll have the time. Love you all. See you later. Keep watching the videos. We got a real good one tomorrow. So, no, tomorrow's Thursday. We do it every other day. But I'll have some video of the farm tomorrow, so just to make sure I have a video every day of my life. Love you all. Take it easy, everybody. This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, miniatures, and paints, discount prices at miniaturemarket.com.